involved in has no meaning, has no value.
Yeah.
I'm fixing to lose the best thing I've got in my life, my woman and my kids, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my question. Like, what would you say to somebody who is in that position?
You've got to come to a knowledge of the truth, okay, about yourself, okay? In and of ourselves, okay, we've got a couple of problems that we can't solve. That's why we need Jesus Christ so much, okay? Because we've got a sin problem, okay? We're going to stumble and trip and fall flat on our face. We're going to do things that are against God's law, against man's law, okay? And like, if a person has never did anything that they need to have forgiveness for, then you won't understand the love of Jesus.
If you're walking through a place where you have to forgive somebody who hurt you in a lot of ways, how do you do that?
Well, I think number one, you have to find God and know that God can help you and that you'll never be alone. And it may not work out, but you've got to love God and say, I can make it. I mean, He put me here, and for me, it was so easy to think, I've got these little boys. I mean, what are they going to know? Only what I teach them.
Yeah.
And we'd pray for their daddy every night and everything. And then, I mean, I would tell them, I'd say, the reason your daddy acts the way he does is because the devil has got inside of him and he's leading him. But we need God to get in him and him to lead him. And that's what this whole thing is about. Because you see, when he can be nice, he can be good, he can be funny, he can make us have a good time, all kind of things. But when the devil gets in, a whole different person appears. And
whole different
and
new
he wouldn't
ballgame.
remember things he did. He didn't remember things he did to me or anybody. And, you know, he was just so rude and all that. And even things he would ignore the children. But the best thing that I will say that Phil ever did was in those 10 years, he never had alcohol, any of his drinking thing, at our house. Mm-hmm. It was never there. So if he wanted to go out and drink, he had to go out and drink elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that was ever at our house. And he did not do that at our house.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
But he would, every time he left, that's why the boys wouldn't want him to leave. Because they didn't know he'd come back bad and not good.
Well, it sounds like you had some trust in God and what He could do in your life and what He could do in Phil's life.
I did.
And that's what helped you to forgive and offer grace in the hard times.
And I think that you need to think about, like, my grandmother always talked to me about that and about the marriage, and I'd have to fight for my marriage, and I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah.
But she explained it all to me, that the devil was going to come in and try to tear our marriage apart. And see, that really happened, and I saw it as plain as she told me about it. And then I went back to what she said, and I thought, she said, you just never give up. Just don't give up. And I remember when when I met with Bill, you know, and when I really thought, he's not going to change. And that horrible feeling that was there, because I always had the hope he will change, when nobody else did it. And I'm going to tell you something, I had everybody against me. They wanted me to leave him. They wanted me to just cut it off with him. And I was standing like an island alone, me and my kids.
Yeah.
But
it was hard.
The most important thing you said about this, though, was that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And your daughter, Sadie, I heard her speak at the church, and she spoke on two things: know your enemy and know the promises of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
exactly
That's
correct.
right.
The
I heard
devil,
that too.
folks, the devil is real. Okay, and he wants one thing: he wants your death. Okay, God, on the other hand, He's real. He wants everything best for you. He wants you to have the best of everything. And then you, like Sadie said, you need to know the promises that the Almighty has made to the human being. You're never alone.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, everybody says, well, how could you tell this whole horrible story? And that's what Phil said. It's so embarrassing to me. But if your story, Phil's story, our story, can help anybody's marriage,
And it
their
will.
life, or bringing them
And it
to
will.
Christ, help them with their kids, anything, it's all worth it.
Yes.
So don't be embarrassed. You
Right.
you have to let pride go
Right.
and just say, this is it. And if you think of something else we did that was bad or worse, tell me. I'll tell it in the next speech. I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we pretty much gutted it all open
Yeah.
anyway.
Because it's what God has done in your life.
That's right.
It's giving God the glory. For
And
your
you
life.
can get through the worst circumstances on earth. You can get through them, because I did.
Yeah.
And I do remember the sadness, like in that bathroom, and that was the first time in my whole life I said, I wish I could just go to sleep and not wake up.
Yeah.
But the minute, even after those words were in my head, I thought, what about those 3 little turkeys out there?
Yeah.
What about them? Leave them to him? That'd be a nightmare.
Yeah.
No. And it went away. I taught myself and
Yeah.
prayed right through that.
Yeah.
But I thought it.
Yeah.
And I would tell people, it's not wrong.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people get to that point and think that.
And they don't want to tell anybody, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
It's okay. It just meant you were the last place. You didn't know. You lost all hope.
Yeah.
And that's where the saddest place is.
But with God, there's always hope.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank y'all. This has been awesome. I'll always love hearing your stories and your wisdom.
Well, one thing I can do best is talk. And Si has proved he can talk more.
Y'all are both good at that.